Large systematic change is needed. Apex fell short of our expectations. Apex 2.0.
Apex is dying, deniers. It might actually be over. It's not looking good right now for Apex, and the CEO of EA spoke on it and the possibility of Apex Legends 2. So let's talk about it, because recently there's been a lot of conversation about Apex dying and Apex declining, and these claims are mostly talked about because currently the Apex player count is declining, and it's declining bad. We are at the lowest player count we've had in years. And yes, I talked about this last week, and a lot of you say Apex isn't actually dying, but we recently got the EA CEO talking about the state of Apex, and he sees there are issues, but it seems there are plans to combat these issues. So what's going on, and can Apex recover? Well, 2 days ago now, there was an EA investors call where the EA CEO Andrew Wilson talks about EA and its progress and how much money it's making to their investors. And they do have to be pretty honest, they can't just lie, and they had to be honest about Apex's current state, and it seems it's not just a player count that's going down, but it's also the amount of money they've earned. For the last few investor calls over the last year, EA have been constantly reporting that Apex is underperforming, and they basically say every time, Apex is underperforming, but next season is going to be really good, and it will improve eventually. But here we are a year later, and I think the CEO realized this can't go on forever, and he was pretty honest about the state of Apex this time. He started by saying, Season 22 of Apex launched with significantly more features for casual and seasoned players alike, including new modes, a new map, and a new anti-cheat software. Following the changes to the Battle Pass construct, we didn't see the lift in monetization we had expected. Two things have become clear in the free-to-play FPS category. First, in a competitive landscape where brand, a strong player base, and high-quality mechanics matter more than ever, Apex has proven to be a compelling franchise for us as an industry stalwart. Second, to drive significant growth and re-engagement, large systematic change is required. We will continue to focus on retention and breadth of content in service of our global community as we work towards more significant, innovative changes in the future. And if you didn't understand what he was saying, he said the Battle Pass changes didn't make us as much money as we expected, and we actually need to put effort into making actual content and cool gameplay mechanics, like Fortnite. So basically, an amazing revelation has happened over at EA where they realized content equals happy players. Revolutionary stuff happening in the game industry here. Hopefully this does mean better stuff in Apex's future. I really hope so, because clearly forcing predatory microtransactions might not actually help the community. After this, the CEO did say Apex net bookings fell short of our expectations for the quarter, as we extended freemium access across the entirety of the first half of the Season 22 Battle Pass. Following the release of the second half of the Battle Pass, we observed a return to spending conversion levels consistent with previous seasons. So this pretty much means nobody was buying a Battle Pass when it was free, who knew, but also when the new and improved Battle Pass wasn't free, people were just spending as much as they normally spent on it. Basically, the Battle Pass changes didn't make as much money as Respawn expected. Now, this isn't good for EA, obviously, because they didn't make a lot of money, but it's good for us, because I think EA may actually be realizing that players will come when there's cool content in the game and spend money on the game when they're having a good time. But when the content isn't up to scratch and it's kind of mid, like reusing events, people are probably less inclined to spend more money, and making ways to spend money in the game more predatory probably doesn't help either. I think that's what they realized, which is pretty good. I really do hope this does kick some systematic change into EA, and they're not just saying this to appease their investors. I really hope that Apex takes a turn, because it's looking so grim right now, and this slump is already going to take some time to get out of. So I really hope EA don't do anything crazy and cut funding to Apex because it's not earning so much, and they just let Respawn cook. I know Respawn is capable of doing some awesome stuff, but I feel like within the last few seasons the vision has been lost, but the vision can always still be found. I really hope that Apex improves from this point. But what about if it doesn't improve and they have to do what Overwatch did and make Apex Legends 2? Well, first of all, let's hope they don't do what Overwatch did, because every marketing point of Overwatch 2 has now been removed from the game. It's amazing stuff happening at Blizzard. I just love modern gaming. But also, the EA CEO did actually answer a question regarding a release of Apex Legends 2, and if it's something EA are even considering. Basically, nearer to the end of the investors call, EA started taking questions, and basically people could just ask anything they wanted, really. And this is where my guy Andrew Marok comes in. He asked a question that a lot of people have been theorizing written about for a very long time. He said, as you're going through the systematic rethink of Apex, how much of this can be done by fixing the car while it's in motion? Or is this something that may require a whole studs up rebuild? Something like an Apex 2.0 instead of incremental change? And you know, that's a good question. It's not unheard of anymore for live service games just to stick a 2 on the end, like Warzone and Overwatch obviously, although these rarely go to plan. And I think EA realized this and have probably considered this for Apex Legends already. The EA CEO did say it's actually a really good question and probably beyond the scope of this conversation. But what I would say is typically what we have seen, again in the context of live service driven games at the scale of the version 2 thing, has almost never been as successful as the version 1 thing. And they're definitely talking about Overwatch 2 here. And so actually, the objective right now is to ensure that we are continuing to support the global player base that we have and deliver new, innovative, creative content on a season by season basis. And so our objective will be to continue to innovate in the core experience. And you're seeing that from season to season now as our seasons get progressively bigger. Yeah, so basically I don't think Apex is interested in an Apex 2.0 right now or anytime in the future. I think the only time they would like possibly bring out an Apex 2.0 is if Apex completely died and they were like, you know what, that worked out, let's just make another one. And at the end of the day, if Respawn really want to do an Apex 2.0 effect, they don't really have to make Apex 2.0. Maybe they could just do what Fortnite did and make a chapter 2, where they reset loads of gameplay systems and invent loads of new ones. Like imagine if one day Respawn woke up, removed the Evo Shield system, removed the perk system, removed several of the maps, added several new maps, and just made Apex a new game. That would be huge for marketing because it will be refreshing the way the game works, and also it will be a lot more effort than Blizzard ever put into Overwatch 2. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna have to agree with the EA CEO on this one. Apex doesn't really need a 2.0, and if they really wanted to make a 2.0, maybe they could just skip a season out and then give us a really big season and change a load of gameplay systems and just make the game fresh. They don't have to call it Apex 2.0. The whole 2.0 thing is mostly for marketing anyway. But that leads us to the question, what do EA mean by large systematic change? What are they gonna do that's larger than anything they've ever done and will bring people back to the game? And honestly, I don't know what they can do. I do think the idea that I just presented of refreshing a load of gameplay systems and removing a load of stuff and stripping the game down to a base level and adding loads of new gameplay systems, basically remaking the game, is a good idea if it ever came to that. But also, if I'm honest for a moment, Respawn could do a really cheap blow and just add loads of Titanfall stuff to Apex. I had like a fantasy on Twitter a few years ago where I said, wouldn't it be cool if EA basically took every part of Titanfall and just chucked it into Apex and maybe just added like a Titanfall 24/7 mode where you play as pilots with Titanfall weapons with a few remastered Titanfall maps. I think this would be a crazy season if they ever did that, but honestly that's so much effort and it would split the player base a lot, which we know Respawn are very afraid of. I don't think this would ever happen. For the large systematic change, we can only sit here and guess, but I guess we'll see this large systematic change over the next year, and let's hope it really does bring Apex out of the position it's in right now, because as much as a lot of you hate hearing so often, Apex is dying. It literally is. We're at the lowest Steam player count that we've had in years. It's not looking good, Chief. And also, people aren't spending money, and the only way the game can fund itself is through money spent on Apex. Do you see the issue here? But what is your solution? Comment your solution to fix Apex down below, because I don't have one for certain.